Today, we're going to turn this into this. But now we're going to turn it back because I want to talk today about painting your hive parts. A couple different ways to do it. One important hack at the end if you're doing lots and lots of boxes at once. Kind of paint you use and some of the tools for it. Seems pretty basic, but it's one of those things that if you're going to build hive bodies, you're going to have to paint them, or you're going to have to dip them, or you're going to have to stain them. You're going to have to do something to them. Today we're going to talk about paint. So let's get at it. So before we get going, let's talk about tools of the trade. Okay, what's the first and foremost? Obviously, you need paint of some sort. Exterior paint, or you don't even need a good grade exterior paint, you just need a paint. We're talking about paint today. Wax dipping is a great way to go. I got some wax dipped hives I got from Propala. I love them. You can stain. I've got a hive I stained and then put a coat of urethane on the outside. That looks great still. But paint is the most common way to go. Here's a little hint on paint. Don't go out and buy a really expensive white exterior paint someplace and pay an enormous amount of money for it because, well, paint stores screw up. That's the bottom line to it. And I've gotten great paint from my local Sherwin-Williams. Good example. So this is a white paint. It was, for whatever reason, sitting in the back, mist tint. Okay, so mist tints are when they tint paint and it's the wrong color, and they bring it back. And they sell these for pennies on the dollar. And this one, I don't know why it was there, but I think I paid $1.75 for a gallon. Normally mist tint paints, and I try to get lighter color. This is actually the exterior color of our house. Had a guy paint our house a year or two ago. He had like two small things to do up high that I didn't want to do. And ended up with a gallon. So this is, for all intents and purposes, a full gallon of paint. But I'm going to use it today because it's kind of this tan color and it's a perfect color for me. So, tools of the trade, paint. You need paint. Second thing you need, obviously, you have to have some way to put it on. Foam brushes, if you're doing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, work great. It's just foam brushes, and then you're done, you toss them because they cost pennies. So that. If you're doing a lot, and you're going to see me working on this batch later in this video, a roller really makes things happen for you. So a roller, if you're doing a lot. And if you're going to be rolling out, I highly suggest a paint tray. And save your paint tray, buy one of these, I don't know what, 50 cents, 99 cents inserts. Again, they just get tossed away. And then what's the 2 most important things that Dave needs? Number 1, Dave needs to put a big tarp down underneath everything he does because it's inevitable that there will be paint on the floor. Guarantee it. And then the other thing Dave needs is I just wear some clothes I don't care about getting paint on because I can pretty much guarantee that I'm going to get painted. Anyways, those are the tools. Let's start out talking about if you just have like 1 or 2 hive bodies to paint, and what I found to be pretty much the simplest way to make that happen. So this will seem really obvious, but if you're just painting 1 or 2, then the simplest way to do it is on some sort of a work surface. Again, cover your work surface, stir your paint. You don't need to see me stir paint. Paint gets stirred, right? And then, paint your hive bodies. I like to put them up on some blocks. It just gets them off the surface a little bit, makes it easier to paint. Painting is just painting. You're just gonna put paint on the sides, right? A couple of tips that you need to make sure that you get is your handholds. Get the underneath side too, and be careful of drips, but make sure you get those. I do not paint the tops, and I do not paint the bottoms. You're simply going to end up scraping it all off in the end anyway, because they get full of propolis. When you're cleaning hives, eventually it's just going to scrape it off. And the bees don't care, and this surface is up against another surface, right? So it's pretty much covered and protected. So there's really no need to paint that inside of it. So 1, 2 hives, this is just a pretty simple way to do it. Let them sit here, let them dry. I always put 2 coats on, and there you have it. But what if you've got a lot? Well, if you've got a lot of hives to do, there's a couple ways you can do it, and one preferred way that I have. So hang on for that. But first, we're going to get this table out of the way and talk about painting a big block of boxes. So last year, I had a short video, kind of talked a little bit about this, and had some comments about people saying, why not just stack them up and paint them that way? Well, that seems to make sense, right? That you could just go through and paint everything. Well, when we're talking stacks of 10, the problem is that when you start to push on them, things start to move and you don't want the things to move. This could work, and I think it would work really good if you had 4 or 5 hive bodies of some sort. But if you get tall like this, I just don't see it being as functional, just out of the pure fact that you're gonna be pushing things around. So what's the solution? My flipper. I can't wait to show you. Here we go. I came up with my flipper about, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, and it changed everything. I'm gonna set this up and show you how quickly you can paint 10 hive bodies, and it takes the doldrums out of it. So let me show you. So the first thing you need is the anti-Dave's a Pig mat. Once you got that laid out to the width of your flipper, 2 sawhorses. Flipper goes on, move out a bit, and you're set up, sort of. Now we're gonna put the hive bodies on and show you what goes on with this. And the process is thus. Hives go on. And there you have it. Hive bodies are all lined up, ready to go. Myself a little bit more room. And then I just even everything out. And when it's evened out, what do you have? A flat surface. That's right. One big flat surface in which to paint. So let's get our paint ready to go, and we're gonna show you how fast I can paint these 10 hive bodies. So now that I got my paint good and stirred up, I carefully, on top of everything, pour a bit into the pan. That's probably more than enough. Clean my top off a little bit, set this aside to completely clean it off later on, and then find a good stable place. What I have found is at the end, just be careful. Well, I'm pretty much saying that to myself. So I need to paint the handholds. If I'm painting the handholds on these, I'm just using a small brush and working my way down, and you don't have to be dainty because nobody's going to see it. Well, I shouldn't say nobody's going to see it. It shouldn't make that much of a difference. For me, this is not being done for style. This is being done because I need to protect my woodenware. And down the line we go. Last one. Handholds are painted. Now it's time to do the flat surface. And again, cheap stuff, cheap stuff. This is the cheapest roller I could possibly find at, I don't know, name a big box. It's just not necessary for it to be beautiful. It's functional, not form, it's functional. Okay, now watch this. And it is 25 minutes to 12, and the first coat's going on. Coat 1, side 1, about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Okay, that's the beauty of this. Okay, now I'm gonna show you the really super cool part of this whole thing. Take your paint, just set it over here in the sink. Now, super cool part of this whole thing. Watch this. Move them over. Move it over and flip. Is that the coolest thing ever? And now that we're flipped, down the line with my handholds. So in last week's video, I showed how to make these. And I said that I got them from Beeline Products. Got them at the NABI, North American Honeybee Expo, a couple weeks ago. And I've got to tell you, I'm not sponsored by them, but I am giving them a shout out. This is the best woodenware I think I've ever had. And it paints so easily, I'm blown away. These handholds are smooth on the inside. Usually I'm tearing up brushes at this point. Good stuff. Okay, let's keep moving here. And once again, it's time to flip. Pull these to the side. You need to push everything in. That doesn't get any easier, I know. And time to paint the next side. And time now for the last side. Push everything up, move everything over, and flip. Here's a pro tip. Make sure that when you flip everything over, that your flipper ends up on the sawhorse. Otherwise, you got an issue. Okay, let's get this last side painted, and we're looking at somewhere around 15 minutes. Not bad. Four sides done, and almost as much paint on me as the hives, but how easy can that be? Size, 8-foot boards. I think it's a foot on the end, and they're just nailed together. There's nothing to it. One kind of fast tip for the end, go through and just hit your handholds real quick so that you don't have big drips of paint. So there you have it. That's what, almost did it. That's what it takes. It's not a whole lot. I know it's simple. It's like not complex, but I just hope you picked up a couple tips. If anything, I think the flipper, if you're gonna do a lot of hive bodies, is just kind of a bit, for me, it was a game changer. I hope it's a handy hint and tip and hack that helps you in your process of painting stuff up. Hey, thanks for watching. Please, if you have not, please subscribe. It's important to me. I'm getting close to that 1,000 mark, and I just really want to be able to make that mark. And we'll see you next time. We're going to be talking about feeders in the next couple days, and also I've got about 300 pounds of honey to uncrystallize. I'm going to show you how I do that in a week or two. So, happy beekeeping. It's mid-January. Hope your bees are warm and happy, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.